Hola chavales, hoy os traigo el Tren Simulator World 4. Vamos a centrarnos en algo diferente. Vamos a probar algo diferente a lo que estamos acostumbrados en este canal. Que son los tiros, la muerte y la destrucción. Hoy nos vamos a ir de trenes. No sé de qué va esto, si hay que hacer... Si hay que hacer trenes, si hay que hacer líneas de tren, si es ir de pasajero en tren, si hay que pilotar el tren, o sea, manejar el tren, ser piloto de trenes. Piloto, no sé. No tengo ni idea de qué va esto. Pero lo vamos a averiguar ahora. Que cargue el chorizo. Esa musiquita. Vamos a ver de qué va esto. Tren Simulator 4. Simulador de trenes, eso sí. Games. A los trenes. Pues venga. Entonces, ¿qué hay que hacer aquí? ¿Un centro de formación? Centro de formación a iniciar un viaje. Fundamentos básicos. Training Center. Vamos al Training Center porque no tengo ni pajolera idea. Así que me embarque aquí. Ay, qué tos. Es que me embarque aquí en un tren y después no tenga ni puñetera idea.
This module will cover the on-screen overlay, known as the heads-up display or HUD, that is shown when you are in control of a train. Climb up the ladder into the train and then sit in the indicated seat.
Moviéndose por el mundo. Soy el pilotillo, chaval. Suave.
Welcome to the most important seat in the train. While sitting here, you'll be in full control. Before you think about moving the train, though, let's look at the HUD overlay that's appeared on the bottom right. The heads-up display is a guide to what your train is doing. The main part of the HUD is the speed display. A white bar will appear around the outside to show your current speed, and the red mark indicates your maximum permitted speed.
Velocidades.
This is the direction display. An arrow will indicate forward, reverse, and neutral directions.
Sí, adelante y atrás.
This is the power display. A number will indicate what position the power or throttle control is in.
De tracción. Muy bien. Qué guay.
These are the brake indicators. The exact ones shown will vary by train and will often be visible in the train itself on various gauges. They tell you what's happening in the braking system. The most important one is the BC or brake cylinder. If that's reading 0, then your brakes are released. Anything else, and brakes are applied and you won't be able to move.
Frenillos, claro.
Every train can have small variations in the HUD unique to the way it works, but they will mostly look the same. As you learn to control new trains, study the HUD and learn how it helps you operate it. If you want to see this again, you can rerun this training module at any time.
No, nada. Me queda claro. Ahora vamos a poner un tren en marcha. Poner modo maquinista. Vamos allá.
In this training module, you're going to look at making the train move and then bringing it to a stop again. While many trains have different controls and are operated in different ways, there are basically always 3 controls that are common and are required to move the train. The reverser sets the direction between forwards and backwards. The brakes are used to slow or stop the train. The throttle controls how fast the train accelerates. In this train, the throttle and brakes are controlled by a combined power and brake handle. We want to move the train forwards, so move the reverser to that position. Pull the power brake handle toward you to release the brakes and apply power. Now that you've reached your target speed, you can move the throttle control back to 0. The train will then coast on level ground, and the train will only slow down very gradually. While the specifics of operating brakes vary from train to train, the basic process of stopping is fundamentally the same. Bring this train to a complete stop by moving the power brake handle into the braking range. The amount of braking you'll need to apply also varies depending on whether you're going uphill or downhill, and how heavy your train is. Stopping a train is one of the biggest challenges of controlling them, particularly stopping them in the right place.
Yeah.
That concludes this module. Restart the module to learn the steps again, or move on to the next module.
Operaciones con viajeros. A ver. Ya sé arrancar y parar. Operaciones con viajeros. A ver si. Salte de güey.
In this training module, you'll be learning basic passenger operations in a BR Class 323 electrical multiple unit. When you are ready, climb aboard the train. Take a seat in the driver's position. To unlock the control desk, insert the master key. Great work! To allow passengers to board, you will need to open the doors. Keep the doors open to allow enough time for passengers to board the train.
Retrovisor. No.
Now that the passengers have boarded the train, close the doors. Set the reverser to forward. Apply power to get moving.
Rampa.
This train has a combined brake and throttle handle. Apply a small amount of brake to gently bring the train to a stop at the next station.
¿Esto qué es? Un poquito más debería. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, ay, mucha caña. Ay, que estamos llegando, venga. A mi hora, a mi hora. Paraos. Oh, venga, venga. Frena. Ya te pasas.
Good work. This time, open the doors on the opposite side.
Las puertas de un lado y las puertas de otro. Está bien, está bien. Está bene.
Close the doors. Reach the next destination unguided.
poco. Y le metemos el máximo de potencia. A full power. Uy, vamos rápido, Mariano. Reduce, reduce. Buah, ya me pasé. Freno a full. Oh, iba demasiado rápido. Ya no, nos pasamos. Hay que ir un poco para atrás. Vamos un poquito para atrás, a ver. No. Un poquito para atrás. Ay, 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 ay. Estoy en prácticas. Me emocioné. Pasajeros al tren. A las vacas. A las vaquiñas.
Great job. That concludes training on passenger operations.
A las vaquiñas. Condiciones no seguras. Cambio de cabina. A ver, vamos a ver. Cambio de cabina. A ver qué va esto. ¿Qué es esto?
In this training module, you will be learning how to change driving ends of a train. During this brief introduction, you will be taken through how to set up a cab for driving, shut down a cab, and how to change which train cab is the lead. Firstly, we need to set up this cab for driving. Set the master key to on to unlock the control desk. The reverser is used to set the direction of travel. Apply some power to get moving.
Rápido. Después me emociono. Acelerarlo. Bueno, pues incrementar un poco aquí. Si no, no llegamos nunca. por debajo del límite de velocidad. Así después me paso. ¿Qué digo yo? Buah, me pasé.
When ready, apply a small amount of braking force to gently bring this train to a stop.
Maldito. Hasta que no llego.
Set the brake throttle handle to neutral. Remove the master key. Well done. You have successfully shut down this cab. Now travel to the cab at the other end of the train. Sit in the driver's seat.
¿Qué chetito es esto, chaval? No, tiene 3 líneas de... Hostias. ¿Esto es verdad o está mal? Esto está mal. Esto está mal. Joder, digo yo que estará mal. ¿Cómo va a tener 3 líneas? Si no, ¿cómo cojones pasa la gente por aquí? Joder, ¿qué es esto? Tiene que estar mal. Joder, debate. Ya, corre, corre.
Now activate the new cab for driving, following the same steps as before.
Ostras, ¿por qué abrirá? Mierda.
Well done. You now know how to change ends in a train. That concludes this training module.
Qué bien. Cambiando de itinerario. Cambiando de itinerario. A ver, ¿de qué va esto?
This module will go over the fundamentals of operating junctions to change the path your train will take, and how to navigate using the map. Most rail lines around the world are controlled remotely by a signaling center or dispatcher. From the perspective of the train, the direction taken is automatic. But within yards and depots, many small and frequent movements are required. This makes remote control of the track impractical. In these locations, the direction taken is manually controlled. You can set junctions by either walking up to them and interacting with them, or going to the 2D map and changing them from there. Let's change this junction by hand first. Walk over to it and change it by operating the lever. Notice how the point blades move on the track. Try moving it a few times so that you can see how it works.
No, nada. Cojones. No sé cambiar. Ah, aquí. Joder. Hostia.
Let's head over to the train, and then we can look at the map.
Hostia, pero si cambia aquí. ¿Qué cojones cambio? Ostras. Están separadas, ¿qué hago? Que vaya por la curva. ¿Cómo cojo? No entiendo. A ver. Hostia, no me deja. Al estar pegada, lo que hago es que vaya de frente, ¿no? A ver. Hostia, ¿cómo hace que vaya de frente? Ah, porque la rueda va... La rueda del tren va por dentro. La rueda del tren va por dentro. Entonces entra por aquí, engancha por aquí, por eso va de frente. Y al estar separadito, la rueda del tren entra por aquí y va por aquí. Vale. Claro, la rueda del tren va por dentro. Fundamentos.
Open the map and change the indicated junctions.
El mapa. A las 9, joder. ¿Ves? Me indica por dónde va a ir. Qué tostos. Por aquí. Ah, es un rollo de prácticas. Está bien. Ya vi el mapa. Ganar.
Your junctions are set correctly. Let's get the train moving and see it all working. If you can't remember how to make the train start and stop, there is a training module you can rerun to remind yourself. We want to move the train forwards. Now that you've reached your target speed, you can move the throttle control back to 0. The train will then coast on level ground, and the train will only slow down very gradually.
Ay, mierda. No sé hacer. Mierda.
Bring this train to a complete stop by moving the power brake handle into the braking range. That concludes this module. All the junctions in the training center are manual, so you can go anywhere you wish using the map and by changing junctions manually. If you want to practice, go to Explore on Foot in the training center. You'll find trains dotted around, and you can practice driving them and moving them around the yard. Don't forget, you can always rerun this training module later if you can't remember any of what's been covered.
Introducción al tren diésel.
In this training module, you're going to learn to drive a diesel-electric locomotive and how the controls differ from a multiple unit. This is a BR Class 66 diesel-electric locomotive, typically used for freight operations in the United Kingdom. The reverser sets the direction between forwards and backwards. There are 3 types of brakes in this locomotive, and which one you use will depend on the situation. We'll learn more about the different brake types in future training modules. The throttle controls how fast the train accelerates. We want to move the train forwards, so move the reverser in that direction. Keep the brake control and release until you can see the brake pipe control needles are reading 5 bar, pointing upwards. This will release the brakes fully. Watch the brake cylinder, or BC gauge, to see it gradually reduce to 0, which tells you that the brakes are now fully released and you can move the train. Apply some throttle to get the train moving. As you apply power, notice the amp bar rising. This is the amount of power being fed into the traction motors. Now that you've reached your target speed, you can move the throttle control back to 0. The train will then coast on level ground, and the train will only slow down very gradually. Brakes in this locomotive are lapped. Rather than directly selecting the brake force with a handle, you use the brake control to add or release braking force. Braking force will be held until you release it, as you did before setting off. Bring this train to a complete stop by holding the brake control in the apply state until you see the brake pipe control needle in the center of your cab desk showing about 4 bar. The amount of braking you'll need to apply also varies depending on whether you're going uphill or downhill, and how heavy your train is. Stopping a train is one of the biggest challenges of controlling them, particularly stopping them in the right place. That concludes this module. Restart the module to learn the steps again, or move on to the next module.
Acoplar y desacoplar. Bueno, chavales, pues yo creo que por hoy como rollo de formación ya le ha llegado bien. Así que nos vemos en el próximo. Hostia, no me jodes que no estuve grabando.